What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today I wanted to actually kind of piggyback off of this idea that Lindy had on one of her videos, which was, is there a language that you wouldn't learn? And part of that is because I saw her make that video and I thought that was cool. I haven't watched hers yet because I didn't want to fully just take anything that she said. I wanted to have this as a kind of an original idea. It's not original because I'm taking the concept, but I didn't want to, basically mimic what she said, so I haven't watched hers yet. But this has also become something that I've noticed in the language community lately, and that is this question. I actually had this question on a live stream that I did, I guess maybe a week or two ago, but I thought that I could expand on that just a little bit, and that is the question of, is there a language that you would not learn? And it's kind of, for the most part, I would say no. The only place that I would get a little bit kind of saying no is the constructed languages. Now, I know that that is a little bit kind of double standardish for me because I did learn Esperanto a long time ago, and that is a constructed language, but that was a little bit different. But I couldn't really see myself right now learning High Valerian or Klingon or anything like that. But as far as languages in the world that are naturally non-man-made, non-constructed languages, there's not really anything that I wouldn't necessarily learn. Now, the argument could get into, or not argument, but the topic of discussion could go on to what degree I would learn them. There's probably languages that I wouldn't necessarily want to learn to a C1 or C2, because honestly, there's only a couple that I would want to learn to that high of a level, just because of the time and dedication it would take. One obviously being Japanese, the other is Chinese. Those are probably the two really big ones that I would want to learn to a very high level. There are others that I would like to learn to maybe an upper intermediate level, your Koreans, your Vietnamese, your things of that nature. I guess Spanish I would like to have in a C level, but that's kind of where the argument goes. And then again, it goes based on what the goal is. So for example, with my Japanese, my goal is to be able to watch media in Japanese. Therefore, that's kind of what I'm concentrating on with that. And then goals for my Chinese are to speak. So what I'm practicing with Chinese, the little bit that I'm doing, is with trying to mimic and kind of copy what people are doing and speaking kind of from day one, which I know goes against everything that I'm doing with Japanese, but again, it's for different purposes of what you're wanting to do. And that goes kind of with everything. There's not really a language that you could throw out. If you were oh, do you want to learn? Well, I mean, I've mentioned this before, Icelandic. I'm not going to be watching Icelandic television or anything like that, but I would absolutely learn Icelandic to a point to where if I ever go to Iceland, I could speak a little bit conversationally in Icelandic. There's not really, anything, there's no reason for me not to do that. So I think it's hard to kind of talk about because, again, I think it's hard for a lot of people watching a video to understand what people are doing, you see people and you're why aren't they doing it this way, or why aren't they doing it that way? And again, it's based on that. There are tons of people out there who would love to learn Icelandic to a very, very high degree. It's just not for me, but that's not saying I wouldn't learn it, because I would. So there's just really not a language, because I love the culture. I love learning. Even if it was just a dabble for a week or two, there's not a language that I wouldn't honestly give a fair shake of a week study, just to kind of get to know the culture a little bit better. And that's honestly what 90% of language learning is to me. That's what Japanese is to me, is just becoming more familiar with the culture and watching the material that I enjoy. Chinese is same thing, culture, being able to talk to the people at the Chinese restaurant for the very brief amount of time that I would be in there from ordering to go or something like that. So it's two different purposes, but it's for ultimately understanding culture. I know that there's a lot of lower, and honestly, I was going to say there's a lot of languages that aren't even spoke by a lot of people, and that honestly intrigues me a little bit more at kind of the idea of kind of helping a dying language. Not necessarily that they are dying, it's just that there's not a lot of speakers. For example, Icelandic, I think, has 300,000, 250 or 300,000 people speakers. And it's not that it's dying per se. Granted, I don't know. I've not researched any of this stuff, but it's just still like you take that and then you compare that to Chinese, Arabic, Spanish, like hundreds of millions of speakers. So but yeah, that's pretty much it. In short, I just wanted to kind of do that because, like, the reason I wanted to make a video like this is because from where I'm studying and my Japanese is progressing, but it's to the point to where unless I'm like, oh, I watched this TV show, there's not really much to report on. It's just kind of going through the motions. I could talk about my Chinese a little bit. That may make some people mad. I don't really know. Maybe I will. I don't really know what I'm doing with that, but because it's kind of just here or there. But so I wanted to make a video like this, just talking a little bit about language. I want to start talking about language. I like what I'm doing with my channel. I like documenting it. I do have the interviews and stuff coming up, but I like to talk languages. It doesn't have to be what I'm studying. It can be about other things. So I am going to end this video here. I would love to know what you think down below. I hope this also wasn't just a crazy ramble video, but I would love to know down below what you think, what you prefer. Would you dabble, not necessarily dabble, but is there a language that you wouldn't learn? Like, is there a language that you're just like, that is a language that I have no interest in. I couldn't even imagine spending 24 hours just trying to indulge in it a little bit. I'm really anxious to hear. So, and I think that will show the difference in the community. I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you are. Some people know what they want. Some people, enjoy. Like, I don't think that makes you a bad person if you wouldn't learn Tagalog for a day. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of goes based on what people's different perspectives and what they really have interest in doing. So, yeah, I think I'm going to end that video here. This was a ramble. I apologize, but that's the way that it works. Thank you all for watching. Follow me on social media at Seabolt Speaks, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. I'm about to hit 1,300 followers on Twitter, so go over there and go follow my Instagram. I'd like to build that up a little bit too. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all in the next video.